That was Prejudice by Tim Minchin, whom I have to mention looks much more fabulous than radio requires, and indeed has a big head of red hair.
I do, and I mean, big head. I'm not affirming that I look fabulous, just that I have a big head of red hair. Although I think I probably look pretty fabulous, but I wear a lot of makeup in my stage shows, and I usually look slovenly for radio, as I do below the neck today. But I suddenly went, this is going to go on the internet, so I better look. Because when I learned that lesson the hard way, if I ever go on TV or anything without my makeup on, people go, "You look ill. Are you okay?" And
Really?
I'm afraid that's what I look like.
So now your face is in character. I mean, if I hadn't described what you look like, and you hadn't described what you look like, people might think, oh, hearing the song, oh, the guy probably has a nice corduroy jacket and a nice necktie, but yet you look like this sort of glam rocky guy. When you got to that crossroads as a young person, rock stars here and witty cabaret singers there, you just refused to decide?
How
or?
dare you? No. I guess in my shows I exploit the idea that I'm a failed rock star, but really I am. But I spent my 20s making theatre and doing, I did funny stuff at uni and things. I didn't actually find comedy until I was almost 30, but by then I'd spent a hell of a lot of time on stage and I'd always written stupid songs. I just didn't realise you're allowed to do that. I thought that was just something I did when I was meant to be doing the proper stuff, and then I realised that could be the proper stuff. So
you didn't realise that because you grew up in Perth, which is, even for Australian standards, in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
That showbiz, the showbiz forms weren't obvious?
I think that's right. I mean, as you say, yeah, Perth is like the middle of nowhere in the middle of nowhere, and I think being in Perth, which is very sports dominated, and I mean I always did theatre and stuff, but the idea that you could be an entertainer as your job didn't really cross my mind. I didn't really think I could be a musician until I sort of already was. But that's also because my dad's a surgeon and his dad's a surgeon, and they're lovely, wonderful, supportive people, but there was no role models or ways in. There was no apprenticeship at your uncle's studio or lessons from your granddad the banjo player or anything. It was just but then again, my siblings and I and all our cousins all played music. So I just don't think... I thought there was something different about people who got to make music and act. I thought you had to know something about yourself, that you were special or something, and I thought, well, I'm not one of them.
And then 10 years later, you discovered you can do comedy. I wonder if there's yet again 10 years down the line where you'll figure out, what, I know how to do this. Can I do this as well?
Yeah, juggling or something, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I'm writing music because I used to write music for theatre, and I've got a musical opening on the West End in a week. So
really,
I'm back to doing that. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you've returned.
I always knew I could do it as a dream. It wasn't. People go, was it always a dream to write for the West End or to be a comedian? I'm like, who has those sorts of what sort of narcissistic little bastard has that as a dream?
Yeah.
I'm going to write a musical. I didn't. I was like, maybe I could get a job one day, sort of thing.
Sort of non-Australians, I guess, would have that dream.
Yeah. Well, the very notion of a dream makes me feel nauseous. It's too long term. It's ridiculous. It's just. Think of a thing to do and do that hard,
Growing up, were there, Australian versions of Tom Lehrer or Randy Newman or somebody that you looked toward as, someday maybe I could be kind of like that?
There was a guy called Kevin Bloody Wilson who did mildly racist songs about Aborigines and stuff. That was pretty, it's good.
So really you're following in his
footsteps. It's an anti-role model, whatever the opposite of role model is. Leadom, Elor.
Can you keep doing that?
Yeah. I won't. There was musical comedy, and there was a bunch of guys called the Doug Anthony All-Stars. But I don't know if they were part of the cultural environment in which I grew up, but I don't think... I just taught myself to play piano because it made me look good at parties. I wanted girls to kiss me, and I knew I couldn't rely on my head. I read an interesting piece in the London Guardian about how nervous you were
touring in America for the first time earlier this year.
Yeah.
Why and how did it work? How has it worked out so far?
It's good. I mean, I was a little bit nervous, but it's mostly other people were nervous for me because I know from reading the internet and from friends and from listening to stuff that, and you just need to understand large numbers. There's 350 million of you mob, and so the odds that none of you are interested in liberal, rationalist, atheist, bashing comedy is slim.
This interview is at an end. Sir.
There's going to be plenty of people out there, even if it's apparently something like 80% of Americans either don't believe in evolution or believe that evolution was inspired by God. And people, I think it's more like 90 actually, but you got to be careful of surveys. But when I hear that figure, if I hear 90% of Americans don't believe in evolution or believe it was inspired by God, I go, that's 35 million people who might come to my show. But
in Dallas, though, you actually ran into some trouble when a guy found out what you were all about, right?
Trouble in Dallas. A guy. I rent pianos ahead. My road manager and managers help me rent pianos ahead when I'm in the States. I don't have the resources to carry a piano around or the strength. And so 2 weeks ahead, we're renting pianos, and then with about 4 days before we got to Dallas, we got this sort of genuine sort of hate email, the sort of trolling emails where they have capitals and lots of stuff's underlined.
And lots of exclamation points.
Yeah, lots. The subject matter had 10 exclamation points. Yeah, and it was, and the subject itself was cancelled. And the guy had looked me up on YouTube and said he didn't think demons were welcome in Texas. He called me a demon.
That's kind of flattering.
Fantastic. That's going to get that 35 million up to 45.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. Because I can get the Satanists as well.
It is true, though, that, in terms of live taboos in this country, atheism sort of is one. Why do you think, over the last 100 years or so, America has gone a different direction than England or Australia or the rest of the...
Especially mainland Europe and Scandinavia.
The rest of the rich, developed world?
I sort of would love to spout a theory, but I'll look like an idiot because I think it's probably complex and there's probably a million theses written on it. But there's probably something... Well, there's a couple of things maybe. One is that the people who settled this country and the way that their religion was imposed on slave populations and the Native American population was forced on them, and so it became part of the national identity, and what defined America was the very conservative, the people who came here, as I understand it, my history is bad, but were the people for whom England wasn't religious enough anymore, a lot of them. So that's the origins, but also you have an incredible constitution, which on paper, and amendments that on paper look like they should. It's secular, it's brilliant, and luckily the courts so far still managed to hold out that secularism in stopping bad educational... Yeah, go the Constitution. But the trouble is, of course, it sort of they get out of each other's way. So you go, all right, our courts, we're not going to support a particular religion, but if we're not going to do that, then by Jove, we're going to go hard at it on our own, and so it just...
I think that's exactly it. I asked professors of this stuff all the time that, and the best answer I've gotten is exactly that because we never had a state religion like England, like France, right. People as a result feel freer to actually believe in religion.
That's right. In a weird way, the stateness of the religion, the fact that the leader of our country nominally is the Queen, who is the head of the Church of England and all this sort of stuff, it sort of makes it kind of boring and impersonal and part of the structure rather than something that is your heart, and the Americans who are religious, they identify it as a huge part of their identity and their pride and stuff. If you're religious in England, it's kind of a bit embarrassing, It's not embarrassing, but you don't go around saying it, and you certainly wouldn't get someone saying, "We're going to war, praise God," and it's just like, "Oh God, damn,
yeah,
that's nasty."
You started the Crusades.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not saying. Well, we didn't. We killed the Aborigines, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there is something. I mean, Obama managed to say non-believers in his first presidential address, which was a huge coup. But the fact that you have a leader of a country that's meant to be secular, who you can't do a speech without mentioning a non-existent deity, is incredible to me.
Which non-existent deity is that?
I don't know. I think it's Thor, but he never He never specifies. But if he said in Thor we trust, everyone would go loopy.
Maybe even here in heathen, decadent New York City, you can offend people. Maybe with your next song.
I could certainly give it a bash. Yes, the religiosity is not a problem in New York. I do a lot of stuff about alternative medicine that New Yorkers don't find more like, well, hold on, I don't mind you bashing God, but Reiki's real.
Yeah. So another song?
Sure.
And this is what?
This is a song This is a song I wrote for a charity gig, trying to encourage people to give money to those less fortunate than I wrote it 4 years ago, played it that night, and I've never played it since, so we'll see how we go. I would be a liar if I pretended to admire the red light windscreen cleaning empire that you've built. But my heart is good, it's not a thing of stone or wood. I'll give you 50 cents to take away my guilt. I give money to folk who just don't have enough to try to justify my future purchases of stuff that I don't need. I guess that one less vodka cranberry tonight could probably feed some foreign family for a fortnight, but I might just have one more. After all, what is vodka for, apart from making you wanna shag your best mate's wife and dampening the guilt you feel about your perfect life? Fuck the poor, I'm not pretending anymore that I really give two shits about some kids in Bangalore. I'm more interested in football scores than Haiti being rebuilt, but I'll give you 50 bucks to take away my guilt. Fuck the poor, what's your heart all bleedy for? There's only one reason you care about this earthquake or that war. It's the force behind Teresa and the school that Oprah built. I'll give you just enough to take away my guilt. I've got cash and I'm prepared to give it. Just take this feeling and fuck off with it. I'll give you 50 bucks to take away my guilt.
And thank goodness for modern bleeping technology. That's Tim Minchin with a song whose title I am not allowed by federal regulations to say on the radio. Are there any taboos that we no longer observe that you miss and would welcome back?
I'm squeamish about people talking about flatulence and stuff. But that's, I don't know why. No, I actually don't. The idea of a taboo is anathema to me. I don't think it matters what we talk about. As a comedian who does satirical material, sorry to get all serious, this is meant to be a funny bit, but it never stopped me being not funny before. People often ask me, so is there any subject you won't touch? And I say, well, I won't touch anything unless I've got something to say about it that I think is important, actually, ironically, ethically, you know. So breaking of taboos is empty in itself.
Right.
They're only to be broken if there's good to be got out of it, and by good I mean the greatest good to be got out of it, which means a huge amount of taboos should be opened up and examined, and if we find them requiring a bit more closure, we can close them back up again a bit, just in order to, like language taboos on certain groups that find it hurts, it brings up bad experiences
ginger.
in the past. Yeah,
Yes.
like ginger.
By the look of it, your life, however, is very beautifully conventional, with a nice wife and children and the whole
She's not nice, but
nine
yes, I've
yards.
got
Yes.
one, yeah. No, that's it. It is. I mean, I'm a completely. I don't. I have a couple of kids, and I'm certainly don't have a. I have a conservative lifestyle. I guess I'm not conservative in my. Well, I see. That's the other thing. People say, "Oh, you're kind of radical and liberal." And I just don't think you should be allowed to use stupid beliefs to justify your prejudices. Apart from that, I'm pretty happy, But you're right. I do. I've got kids, and I like jogging, and I drink. I drink a bit of alcohol, but not like a binging, self-loathing thing. Just a medicinal, stopping the horror.
Exactly. Tim Minchin's first American concert DVD, Ready for This, is just out now, is it not?
Yeah, it's my Americans have justifiably been stealing my material for years. So now I'm giving you a chance to purchase it with your actual money. You don't have to. You can keep stealing it.
And Tim will be back later. Don't worry. Thank you so much, Tim Minchin.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and